Look up at a clear blue sky and you'll see them. Thin white lines, stretched from one horizon to the other, slowly spreading into feathery streaks. Some dissolve in seconds, others just stay for hours, getting wider, turning the whole sky hazy by noon. And depending on who you ask, that white line is either water vapor turning to ice or something being sprayed on you from above. So, which is it? A completely normal quirk of physics, or the most visible secret program in the world? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what that line is made of, why some of them disappear while others won't, and where the idea of chemtrails came from. Let's get into it. Here's why this question matters more than you might think. Chemtrails Explained is one of the most searched aviation topics on the internet, and for years, the people asking that question have mostly been getting two kinds of answers. One side says, it's just frozen water, nothing to see here, move along. The other side says the sky is full of chemicals, and the people telling you not to worry are part of the cover-up. Neither of those answers explains anything, and that gap, that's where the myth lives. So, let's do what Eureka Aviation does best. Skip the shouting, skip the conspiracies. Just look at what's physically happening up there. First, the name gives away more than people realize. Contrail is short for condensation trail. Condensation, same word you use when water collects on a cold glass on a warm day. That's not a coincidence. It's literally the same process, just happening at 35,000 feet. Here's what's going on. A jet engine burns fuel. When kerosene, that's jet fuel, burns, it produces two things as exhaust: carbon dioxide and water vapor. Every single gallon of jet fuel burned produces roughly 1.25 gallons of water vapor, right out the back of the engine. Now, that exhaust comes out at hundreds of degrees. But the air up at cruising altitude is brutally cold. We're talking -40 to -60 degrees Celsius. The moment that hot, humid exhaust hits that freezing air, the water vapor condenses and instantly freezes. What you're seeing is not smoke. It's a cloud of ice crystals, a man-made cloud, essentially, formed in the exact path the plane just flew. And here's the part most people never think about. The engine also spits out tiny particles of soot. Those little specks of unburned carbon become the seed, the thing each ice crystal forms around. No soot particles, and the water vapor has nothing to grab onto. The contrail doesn't form. So when you see that white line, you're not looking at chemicals being dumped, you're looking at ice, frozen around tiny bits of soot, laid down by nothing more than the plane passing through. Okay, but here's where it gets interesting, and it's the exact thing that fuels the whole myth. Some contrails vanish in 30 seconds. Some stick around for hours, spreading wider and wider until they look nothing like a line at all. If they're all just ice, why the difference? The answer is humidity. Specifically, the air around and above the plane. There are two kinds of contrails. The first kind forms in dry air. The ice crystals form, and almost immediately, they sublimate. That's the word for ice turning straight back into invisible water vapor, skipping the liquid stage. Poof, gone in seconds. You barely notice it. But the second kind forms when the air is already saturated, close to its maximum moisture. In that case, the contrail doesn't just survive, it grows. The ice crystals pull moisture out of the surrounding air and get bigger. High-altitude winds spread them out into those wide, feathery sheets you see stretching across the sky. That's it. That's the whole difference. One line disappears because the air is dry. The other lingers because the air is already full of moisture, and the wind spreads it out. No chemical difference. No different payload. Same water, same soot, just different weather. So the next time someone points at a sky full of lingering trails and says, "Explain that," you can. It's humidity. It's always been humidity. If you're the kind of person who likes uncovering the hidden physics behind our skies, hit that subscribe button, because this is exactly what we do here, every single week. Now, if it's that simple, how did chemtrails become a thing at all? Let's trace it back, because the origin story matters. In the 1990s, the United States Air Force published a research paper, a real, public document, about weather modification. The idea was, could you theoretically use aircraft to influence weather? Seed clouds, manipulate precipitation, that kind of thing. The paper was speculative, it was academic, and honestly, it mostly concluded that this stuff was either impractical or decades away. But somewhere along the line, that paper got combined with a much more visible observation: the fact that contrails had become a lot more common. Because they had. Commercial air traffic exploded in the decades before, meaning way more planes, way more water vapor, way more trails in the sky. People connected the two. They're studying spraying from planes, and there are suddenly more trails in the sky, so they must be doing it right now. It snowballed from there. The internet did what the internet does, and before long, a perfectly normal cloud formation had its own name, its own lore, and millions of people convinced it was something else entirely. Here's the part where the physics becomes the truth teller. Because even setting the origin story aside, the chemtrail theory runs into problems the moment you apply real numbers to it. Think about the logistics. To spray a meaningful chemical over a population, you'd need to load it onto the plane, unload it mid-flight, and do it in a way that reaches the ground. But contrails form at 35,000 feet, and by the time those ice crystals settle anywhere, they've drifted for miles, evaporated, or thinned to nothing. The stuff in a contrail isn't even falling on the people below. It's sitting in the upper atmosphere, getting carried by the jet stream. There's also the volume problem. The amount of material you'd have to fly to blanket even one city would be staggering, and it would have to be loaded, hidden, and burned as part of regular commercial operations, all without a single pilot, mechanic, or baggage handler ever seeing it. And then there's the distinction everyone skips. Cloud seeding is real. It exists. It's used in a handful of places to try to squeeze more rain out of certain clouds. But it's small, it's local, it's done by specialized aircraft, and it has nothing to do with the white trails behind every passenger jet. The simplest explanation wins for a reason, because it's the one that holds up. So here's what we know. That white line is ice, water vapor frozen around a speck of soot. It vanishes when the air is dry, and lingers when the air is already full of moisture. The chemtrails story came from a 1990s weather modification paper colliding with a boom in air traffic, and it falls apart the moment you run the actual numbers. Planes aren't spraying anything, they're just leaving a little water behind, and physics turns it into art in the sky. And here's the brain bender. The very same water vapor that makes those trails has been cycling through our atmosphere for millions of years. That cloud you're watching might have been in a dinosaur's drink, or a hurricane, or the ocean last week. What's the weirdest thing you've ever noticed up there in the sky? Drop a comment below, we'd love to explore it. Thanks for watching, and welcome aboard Eureka Aviation. See you in the next one.